year 1902. In New Zealand, where the year kicked off, they decided to make sure all nurses were officially registered with the government. This meant they had to meet certain standards and rules to practice nursing. It was a big deal because it was the first time anywhere in the world that this kind of rule was put in place. Ellen Doherty was the very first nurse to get officially registered, making history on January 10th. Meanwhile, in the United States, a guy named Nathan Stubblefield was making waves with his invention. He showed off this cool thing he made, a telephone that didn't need any wires. He demonstrated it in Kentucky, sparking excitement and curiosity about the future of communication. Picture the bustling streets of Brussels, Belgium, where people were fighting for the right to vote. They clashed with the police in a physical altercation, showing just how passionate they were about their cause. Across the ocean in Washington, D.C., a milestone event took place. It was the very first conference of the International Woman Suffrage Alliance. This was a big deal for women's rights advocates who were fighting for the right to vote all around the world. Over in Germany, they were unveiling something revolutionary, the Berlin U-Bahn underground train system. It was a marvel of engineering and a major step forward in urban transportation. Imagine the rugged landscape of the Hakoda Mountains in Japan, where tragedy struck during a military training exercise. A sudden snowstorm claimed the lives of many soldiers, highlighting the dangers of nature even during routine activities. Meanwhile, in Finland, a composer named Jean Sibelius debuted his Symphony No. 2, showcasing his musical genius to the world. The United States saw a historic moment with the opening of the Electric Theater in Los Angeles, marking the birth of the movie theater industry in the country. People lined up to experience the magic of moving pictures for the first time. Across the ocean in Italy, an operatic sensation was born when Enrico Caruso recorded a song that would become a global hit, cementing his legacy as one of the greatest tenors of all time. However, tragedy struck in Guatemala with a devastating earthquake that caused widespread destruction and loss of life, reminding everyone of the unpredictable power of nature. Picture the serene Caribbean island of St. Vincent, where the La Soufriere volcano erupted, unleashing chaos and destruction on the unsuspecting inhabitants. Meanwhile, in Martinique, Mount Pelée erupted with catastrophic force, wiping out the town of Saint-Pierre and leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Despite these natural disasters, there were also moments of triumph as Cuba finally gained independence from the United States, marking a new chapter in its history. In the United States, coal miners went on strike, demanding better working conditions and fair treatment from their employers. The strike would have far-reaching effects on labor rights and the coal industry. Meanwhile, in Australia, a groundbreaking decision was made to grant women the right to vote in federal elections, setting a precedent for gender equality in politics. As if that wasn't enough, a sleek and modern train called the 20th Century Limited began shuttling passengers between Chicago and New York City, ushering in a new era of luxury travel. Imagine the vast expanse of the Sabi Game Reserve in South Africa, where James Stevenson Hamilton was appointed warden, tasked with protecting the region's rich wildlife. Meanwhile, In the Philippines, a long and bloody conflict known as the Philippine-American War finally came to an end, bringing relief to the war-weary inhabitants. And in Peru, the stunning ruins of Machu Picchu were rediscovered, revealing an ancient civilization's secrets to the modern world. A somber mood swept over the mining town of Wollongong, Australia, as news spread of a tragic pit explosion that claimed the lives of 100 miners, highlighting the dangers of working in the coal industry. Meanwhile, in England, the coronation of King Edward VII was a cause for celebration and pomp, marking the dawn of a new era for the British Empire. In a sign of the changing times, the President of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt, took a historic ride in an automobile, embracing the technological advancements of the new century. Imagine the excitement in Paris as audiences gathered at the Theatre Robert Houdin for the premiere of the first science fiction film ever made. A trip to the moon captivated audiences with its imaginative storytelling and groundbreaking special effects. However, tragedy struck in Birmingham, Alabama, when a stampede at Shiloh Baptist Church claimed the lives of over 100 people, leaving the community in shock and mourning. Picture the rolling hills of Borstal, Kent, where the first youth offenders institution, known as a Borstal, opened its doors, offering a new approach to juvenile justice. Meanwhile, in the United States, a long and bitter strike by coal miners finally came to an end, bringing relief to workers and their families. The year drew to a close, with tensions escalating in Venezuela as Britain, Germany, and Italy imposed a naval blockade in response to financial disputes. This marked a turning point in international relations and set the stage for future conflicts. Meanwhile, in Egypt, the completion of the first Aswan Dam signaled the triumph of engineering and a new era of infrastructure development. And in the icy reaches of Antarctica, British explorers pushed the boundaries of human exploration, reaching the furthest southern point ever recorded up to that time.